The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and are not those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. The phone lines are open. Call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. It's time for Stuart Laser Talk with your host, Dr. Tred J. Rosacker.
I'm 5'10" and 242 pounds.
I always say this is the biggest I'm ever going to be, and I said that like 20 pounds ago.
Another third is overweight.
Obesity is the biggest threat to the health, welfare, and future of this country.
I've always been overweight.
I've got diabetes.
Disease.
Everything's hurting now.
It's a lot easier to lose weight than it is to keep weight off.
This is probably going to be the first generation of children who are going to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents.
18% of our children right now are obese.
It's not only health, it's about survival and well-being of the United States as a nation.
You don't crave broccoli, and our generation has grown up craving a Big Mac.
I want to think there's something better for me.
Unless we're able to control this epidemic, we're going to have an abundance of chronic disease.
All of us have to be part of the solution to reduce obesity.
The weight of the nation is out of control, but we can fix that.
If we don't now take this as a really urgent national priority, we are all going to pay a really serious price.
Obesity will crush the United States in oblivion.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for tuning in to my Slim Body Laser Spa's Health and Wellness Show. I can be heard right here every Tuesday from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock on WSTU with a simulcast on Thursday at 11 to 12 on WPSL, which is our sister station. And we've been having a lot of new listeners have been coming on board since that Thursday time used to be Dr. Shipes. And Dr. Shipes, of course, is the acupuncture doctor who had done it for, I think he had been on air for over 20 years and had decided to downsize. And we got a hold of his spot. And that's how I got that Thursday spot. And we're very, very, very happy for that spot. My message is a message of healing and hope, and of that your body's ability to heal is far greater than any. And that's just the truth. Your body's ability to heal is far greater than it allowed you to believe. And it's my job to educate you and to impress you and to give you facts and knowledge about your own body's ability to repair itself, to maintain homeostasis, that its main directive, the obvious, the major directive of your body is to keep you alive, is to keep you on this planet for at least 120 years. That seems to be, there's people that have lived to be over 115 to 120 years. And anybody that dies short of that is dying a little prematurely. The average life expectancy in America is like 78 or something, 77, 78. And I tell you, people are living way beyond that. And they're living healthy, productive lives, in exchange for a few simple disciplinary habits. That's really what it comes down to. It's the discipline you have to take care of your health. And my goal and my mission on the Slim Body Laser Spa Health and Wellness Show is to just keep hammering these things that are necessary for health and wellness. And they're very, very simple. They're things that you've seen, you've tried, maybe you did a little bit, or somebody helped you, and then you fell off, and then you start sliding down the escalator. I like to say, life is like an escalator. That rolling stairs that go up and down at the big department stores that we used to have, the big department stores, remember? And life is like a down escalator. If you jump on the escalator, I remember being a kid, you could run up to the top of the escalator and let it take you back down and run up again without any problem. A couple times. Now it's as you get older, it's much harder to run up the escalator, isn't it? And what happens is if you're not at least trudging forward in a forward direction, you're going down because an escalator goes down naturally. So for you to maintain health, you have to maintain a good, steady step forward just to maintain where you are, not to go down. And if you want to go up in health, you have to work extra hard, just like a down escalator, you'd have to run up the escalator. And health is, God, I wish it was just something that you just had. You got it. You did everything you needed this month, and you're going to be healthy for the next year or two. Not a problem. It's not like that, people. It's health is it's not fleeting. It's guaranteed, but there are some rules and some guides that are really important. You want to get the most time, life, and the most energy and performance from your body, from your physical body. You have to follow certain rules. And they're laws. They're not up for suggestion. You can get away with it for a little while of not following these rules and laws, these foundations, but eventually, because they're foundational principles, they're law, they're natural law, you will eventually suffer the consequence of violating those natural laws. That's factual. I'm sorry to pop your button, burst your bubble, but you've created most of the sickness and problems you're suffering from, most of the unhappiness that you're in, most of the being overweight and unhappy with your body. Most of you, not all of you, most of you have created these problems. 3 to 6% of illness actually comes from trauma or poison or something somebody had nothing to do with. Walking down the street and a tree branch falls on top of you. You're sitting in your car and you're a passenger and somebody at no fault of yours hits you in the side. These only take up about 6% of the illnesses that occur. 3%, only 3% are genetic, are things which genetically you're predisposed to. Genetics, bad luck, familial inheritance. These problems are only about 3%. The other 80% of sickness and unhealth come from something called psychosomatic illness. 80% of the illnesses that we have are created by us unknowingly. We create these problems because we don't understand, or if we do understand the laws and the foundations of health and healing, or we do understand and we're violating them knowingly, and some of you are violating them and not even realizing it. And this is one of the causes of self-created illness, of self-iatrogenic illnesses. And if you don't get a handle on these foundational principles of life, of what your body needs for sustenance, what your body needs for rest, recuperation, what your body needs for cleanliness, to be clean on the inside and the outside, how important it is to move your body, the movement aspect of your life, to move your body every day, to drink fresh water, to avoid toxins and poisons as much as possible, to put yourself in a positive, nurturing environment with people, life that support you, or at least leave you alone so you can live your life. These are really important foundations of health and healing. And I'm going to go over them again and again with you so you can understand the importance of it. And it's like a checklist. At the same time, I found the basic foundations of life, of healing and health. There's a book that you can get. I have them at my office. I'm going to hold it up here in front of the camera here. It's called The Rays of the Dawn. And The Rays of the Dawn has everything you need to know about how to conduct your life. If I could only own one book, this would be it. And that is the truth. I own one book of this. I've had my mom's book for many years, and this is my Bible. This is what I go to when I'm trying. If I have lost my health or I want to regain health, this is my handbook. It's called The Rays of the Dawn. Okay. And it provides a framework that allows me to reach levels of health that include the spiritual as well as mental. In other words, the body is something we're all working on. We work on our body because it's the most obvious problem, our body, right? When it doesn't work. But subtly, as much of a problem are problems with the mind and problems with spiritual problems, as well as mental problems, just as devastating to your health as physical problems. And to date, nobody's really addressed all of these, the body, the mind, and the soul. In Hindu religion, they call it Om Sat Tat, Om Sat Tat. And that is the mind, the body, and the soul. In Christianity, they call it the triune, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay, it's called the triune. And in metaphysics, such as your aging people, your crystals, and your metaphysical people, they believe in it's the body, mind, and soul. It's a three-part being. And the message here, the summary is that these natural laws of the body, mind, and soul, in order to achieve health and maintain health for the whole time that you're designed to be here on this planet, you have to have balance in the body, the mind, and the soul. You can't just have one or the other. It has to be all three, body, mind, and soul. You have to have a normal balance between the two, between the three. All right. And with that, let's get started. The first thing that we really have to look at when it comes to being healthy is there's 4 laws of the body. And the 4 laws of the body are pretty clear. There's the law of nourishment. There's the law of movement. There's the law of recuperation or healing, rest and recuperation. And then you have the law of sanitation. Okay. And the law of nourishment just states that you are what you eat. I'm not going to go over these in depth. Each one of these could have hours going on just nourishment. Okay. So the first step in becoming healthy is to understand and practice these 4 laws: nourishment, movement, recuperation, and sanitation. When we can experience growth, much has been said and written concerning food and diet, and it's easy to become confused over the daily choices we must make regarding our nourishment. So I'm going to try to make this very simple so you can understand. Every living organism requires food for its sustenance. It needs food to live. Even the simplest vegetable cell takes nourishment and replaces its waste products by taking fresh material into the system. Guided by the innate intelligence or God, the plant absorbs the food that is essential for its growth and development. When a plant is grown in a soil and climate conducive to its well-being, nature produces the finest specimen known. On the other hand, if a plant is grown in impoverished, devitalized soil, it adapts to that impoverished environment, becoming a degenerate specimen. The perfect specimen only occurs when we allow a plant to grow and develop in its true environment. In the vegetable kingdom, we observe that an intelligence expressed through natural law guides and controls the sustenance of plants. So what it's saying is, if you're going to eat food, you want to eat food that's been grown in a natural environment in a sustainable way, such as organic foods versus commercially produced foods. Commercial farming and commercial growth of foods which come from all over the world to America today, they're not all grown naturally, can have a lot of pesticides and chemicals, and maybe they weren't grown properly because there's just no laws that require that in their countries. So if you want to eat right and be healthy, try to eat locally produced organic food, and for some of you, it might actually mean having a garden. I have a garden. I eat from regularly, and I love eating from my garden. I feel good about it because I grew it. And I know there's no chemicals or poisons in it. So foods that we buy at the stores, we have to be careful with vegetables and fruits because of chemicals and also because of the way they were grown. So organic is a good way to go. So that would be the law of nourishment. Now, nourishment is broken down into 4 different groups. The group are builders, eliminators, congestors, and lubricators. So the foods you eat, instead of being proteins, carbs, and fats, we're going to break them down into foods which build tissue, foods which eliminate toxin, which is part of life, foods which cause congestion, which you don't want a lot of, and also the lubricators, things which lubricate your body. So the builders, proteins, avocados, beans, beef, butter, cheese, eggs, fish, fowl, lamb, lentils, milk, mushrooms, nuts, and pork. These contain amino acids in large amounts, and you need one builder for each meal that you have. So if you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you want to have one builder at that meal. The next group is eliminators, and you want 2 of these at each meal. Eliminators are your vegetables and your fruit. All fresh fruit except for bananas, and all fresh green vegetables, including canned or frozen vegetables, canned or frozen tomatoes are fine. So vegetables, fresh vegetables are eliminators. They scrub and clean out the toxins from food. And they also replace the waste products with enzymes and minerals. So eliminators, the fruits, are what help to give you the nutrients and the cleansing part of life. Builders build tissue, eliminators help to get rid of toxins. So that's why you need a lot of good fresh fruits and vegetables. Group 3 is called a congestor, and these form congestion, and they do not build muscular tissue. They only form congestion, and congestion would be mucus and pus, and congestion in your chest, inflammation, and these would be all candies, all cereal, all gum, all soft drinks containing sugar, anything made from flour, bananas, bread, cake, dried fruits, flour, gravies made from flour, honey, jams, jellies, macaroni, molasses, noodles, potatoes, old corn, and spaghetti are congestors. They're called starches, and they cause massive amounts of congestion. So if your child or your family are suffering with runny noses and coughing and congestion, try eating sparingly of these congestors, of candies and cereals and gums and soft drinks and things made from flour, bread, cakes, dried fruits, gravies, honey, jam, jellies, noodles, macaroni, potatoes, old corn, and spaghetti create congestion. Starches, you guys. 4th group, use as needed, which means not a lot, butter, all oils, and all fats. They lubricate the body. So builders are your proteins. Eliminators are your fresh fruits and vegetables. Congestors, candy, cereals, flour products, processed food. Lubricators, butter, oil, and fats. You need a little bit from each one of them. All right. I could go over this. We have this information at the office if you'd like more about what these are. We don't have enough time to go into each one of these. This is a summary. My next summary here is called the law of movement. 4th physical law to be healthy. First one was nutrition. Now we're in the law of movement. When we live in ignorance and defiance of nature's laws, we lead false, artificial lives. In order for life to be progressive, it must be natural. Nature demands obedience to her laws, or she will gradually but surely eliminate those of us who violate them. When we know, understand, and obey the law of movement, our lives and health take on a different expression. What this book just stated, that nature demands obedience to these laws. Whether you know the laws or not means nothing to nature. You are still required to be obedient to these laws. These are natural laws. If you are not if you're in violation of those laws or you're not using those laws, nature will gradually but surely eliminate those who violate these laws. These are the people that are dying young. These are the people that are dying from infections and germs and bacterias. Remember, 6% die from infections or germs or trauma, 3% genetic, and the other 80% are psycho. We created the problem. We created the sickness. So the law of movement is a big part of that. If you're not moving your body and exercising, you are violating one of nature's laws, and eventually the law will eliminate you. That means you will not have a full life, or you'll have a life barely surviving. And so the law of movement is really important. And then one of the reasons why we move every day is our bodies must absorb and distribute the nourishment contained in the food we eat. You could have $1,000 meal of the best food shipped in from France, and you eat the food, and if you don't move around, you can't distribute the food to all the cells. So movement is how you distribute food and nutrients to the body. And movement is how you remove toxins from the body. So without the law of movement, the pumping action, your food is not going to be digested as easily. You're going to have poisonous buildup. Your tissues are going to be swollen and full of toxins from the food you ate and just living. And you're going to have swelling, inflammation, and arthritis and everything that comes with it just because you refuse to move. So we're talking movement. We're not talking gym level here. We're just talking, please get out and move. So move every day, every joint, every day, in every way. Move every joint every day in every way. So that would be your toes, your ankles, your knees, your hips, your low back, front, back, left, right, rotate left and right. That would be your arms. Raise your arms above your head, pull them down, bring your elbows back behind your back, rotate them around, bend your elbows, bend your wrists, move your fingers, turn your neck up and down, move your body. If you need to, join a beginner's yoga class. Can't emphasize how helpful that was for me, joining a yoga class, because I didn't really know how to move my body in all these ways. And I don't really like going to the gym. I'm not good with lifting weights and doing that kind of stuff. So the movement was really important, and yoga is a big one for me. All right, so that's why we move. We want to get nourishment. We want to stay healthy. The next law, number 3, is the law of recuperation. This natural great law demands of every living creature a sufficient amount of rest and sleep. Now, if you don't think that rest and sleep is part of healing and health, try going without rest and sleep for a little bit and tell me how you do. Tell me how well you function, how well you deal with people. Tell me how your digestive improves when you haven't slept or you're overly tired. You know, we need rest and sleep. This is something, because we're very complex, neurologically adaptive creatures. We have a lot of nervous tissue, which takes in a lot of information. We're processing a lot of ideas and messages, and we're burning energy during our day. Our thoughts are helping out people, and believe me or not, you got to rest. If you're going to burn a lot of energy, you're going to need a certain amount of rest and sleep. And if you fail to get enough sleep and rest, meaning recuperation, your body can no longer heal itself. The body's ability to repair the damage that you did through the day is severely hampered because you're not resting at night or you're not getting enough recuperation. So all day long, you burn energy and you're damaging the body's tissue. You're utilizing life. You're being energetic. At night, your body prepares itself. It repairs itself. That's why we lay down, or in the daytime, as long as you're laying down. Every human being and every animal must obey this law to some degree, because continuous, never ceasing activity for any living creature means untimely death. To recuperate means to recover. And in this law, it means to recover the energy expended during the day. So there's 3 ways that we recuperate. There's rest, recreation, and sleep. Rest is important for all healthy living. Even when we're hard at work, we need frequent breathing spells and changes of occupation and amusement to keep our muscles and our minds in a healthy condition. Even the strongest and hardiest of us cannot continue indefinitely in an unbroken line of energy. There comes a time when mere sitting still will not rest us. Then sleep is needed to restore the body. Recreation. Recreation is essential to maintain healthful and wholesome living, but is not a substitute for rest. Recreation differs from rest because recreation brings into cells, into action, parts of the body or brain that are not ordinarily used. So it uses parts previously active in a different manner. It recreates by change of activity. We should indulge in recreation frequently because it rests the mind and certain muscles of the body. So that means having hobbies, having things you can do, fishing, working on something, painting, gardening, taking care of your doggies. You know, recreation is a really important part of being healthy and well balanced, is having a healthy recreation. People that all work and no play are can be very unhealthy people. So we need that recreation. So don't beat yourself up because you're going to have a little bit of fun playing a game every now and then, as long as it's, not too much. Third, recuperation is sleep. Dr. Tread loves to sleep. If you don't love to sleep, something's wrong with your life. Sleep is the third phase of recuperation. It is a natural, temporary period of almost complete unconsciousness, normally occurring at night, in which the body rests. During sleep, voluntary muscular activity ceases, except for slight unconscious movements. However, the involuntary muscles controlling your circulation, your respiration, your digestion continue in their activity, though at a slightly lessened or slower pace. When the body falls asleep, the conscious mind also rests. Frequently, the thoughts and problems that we have concentrated on during waking hours pass into the subconscious and become the subject of our dreams. Sometimes we awaken with the solution to a problem that had weighed on the conscious mind during the previous day's activity. Thus, we see that although sleep is a state of rest or freedom from physical and mental effort, still it is not complete. Many of our functions and activities, physical, mental, and psychological, continue during sleep. To maintain health and vitality, every one of us must secure a sufficient amount of sleep. My rule of thumb, if I'm sleepy, I sleep. If I'm struggling to stay awake in the middle of the day and I'm driving and I will stop, pull over, and take a quick nap. I'm not above that. I'll go home. I'll tell the staff, leave me alone. I need 10 minutes. I do very well right after a 10-minute cat nap. Some don't. I do. So it works well for me. I also find that sleep is where I process a lot of my questions and things that are concerning me. Because, when you're laying there and you're getting ready to go to sleep, I'll ask for some guidance, some suggestions, maybe as I turn off the machine at night, and maybe I'll come up with some ideas. And it does help me at night. I solve a lot of problems at night. Sleep's really important, you guys. I hear it a lot. So recuperation, a summary: rest, sleep, and recreation. That's the summaries of the law of recuperation. The fourth law, which is about cleanliness, and I'm going to leave it on this. It's called the law of sanitation. Cleanliness is indispensable in keeping our bodies healthy. Boy, if we haven't figured that out. Wholesome and beautiful. Not only does cleanliness affect the body, but it also reaches into the confines of the mind, the soul, and the spirit. Cleanliness, since the body is the abode of the mind and soul and the instrument of the spirit, these can evolve to higher planes of existence only in an environment that is clean and pure. So your environment in your house should be clean and pure for you to live healthy. The environment within your body should be clean and pure for your body to be healthy and for your spirit and your mind to excel and to live without fear, without problems. We need to have a clean internal environment. Now, If we were living in a natural state, we would scarcely have to concern ourselves with the law of sanitation, for nature would take care of us. But since we live artificially, since we are exposed to an unnatural environment and we violate the other three laws, in other words, we're violating nourishment, movement, and recuperation, therefore, we must obey the law of sanitation to maintain any degree of health and wholesomeness. Think of the human body as having two sides, the outside and the inside. Both must be kept clean or we will reap ill health and disease. External cleanliness affects not only the purity of our blood, but our general internal wholesomeness. The outside of our bodies is covered with teeny pores called sweat glands. These tiny pores constantly eliminate waste material that the intelligence within the body cannot utilize and is trying to dispose of. If we were living in a natural state, we would not wear clothing, and our skin would be exposed to the sun's rays, which in turn would absorb the poison being liberated from the skin. But clothing interferes with the natural functioning of our pores. So we must resort to using soap and water to remove the daily accumulation of poisons. So the skin has pores which release the toxins, but because we're wearing clothing all the time, that mechanism is impaired. Thus, we have to use soap and water to keep the daily accumulation of poisons off our body. And if you don't do that, you start to smell, don't you? I think they call it BO. If these poisons, which are continually being eliminated, are not washed off, they harden and they clog in our pores. Then the balance of the toxins in the system cannot be discharged. Thus, our bodies become poisoned by the very poison that the intelligence is trying to eliminate. For this reason, bathing once or twice a week is not sufficient. We should bathe daily with soap and water. In general, our physical condition, our diet, and activities should determine the amount of bathing we need. Do you need to be told this or educated on how much you should bathe? Man, if you're dirty, bathe before you go to bed. You should go take a shower. And in the morning, you could take another shower. But, toxins are huge. The farther we allow our bodies to deviate from a state of physical perfection, the greater the accumulation of acids and toxins in the bloodstream, and the greater the burden placed on the eliminative organs in nature's effort to expel these poisons. So, the farther we allow our bodies to deviate from a state of physical perfection, in other words, the more crap and garbage that we put into our body and the more stuff we smoke and take drugs and don't take care of our health, the greater the accumulation of acids and toxins occur in your bloodstream. This burden is now placed on the eliminative organs to get rid of the toxins that you accumulated, and this creates poisons. Consequently, there's a greater need for bathing to ensure external cleanliness, enable the pores of the skin to perform their function effectively. So, these are stuff hopefully you have figured out before kindergarten, that cleanliness is really important. But external cleanliness involves not only your skin, but your hair, your nails, your mouth, and your teeth. More people will die from dental infections than will probably die from, car accidents. Trust me. The dental infection is part of why people die. They don't take care of their teeth. We must all our food, our dishes, our bedding clean. It's just as important to keep out hair, nails, mouth, and teeth sanitary as it is to bathe daily. Hygiene, so those habits will become routine throughout lives. All right. Last part about this law of sanitation, I'm going to go into what we do at the laser spa, about a little bit about weight loss. Internal cleanliness. This is part of the last law of sanitation. If your diet consists of natural foods correctly combined, your bodies will naturally cleanse themselves. A diet consisting chiefly of fruits and vegetables, balanced by sufficient building foods such as whole grains and proteins, and lubricating foods, which are the oils, will not nourish your body, but will at the same time ensure proper elimination. Fruits and vegetables have a flushing and a cleansing effect that eliminates waste material. So your fruits and vegetables should be taken in copious amounts because they flush and clean the body. They also possess the necessary cellulose, which is called fiber, to exercise and tone up the whole digestive and eliminative tract. We have a saying, in hard, something you have to chew, like apples or something roughage that you chew hard, always comes out soft, and that's really good for the colon. Foods which are already softened, things that don't have to be chewed, that are pre-processed, come out hard, and they're bad for the colon. In hard, out soft. In soft, out hard. Whole grains provide the bulk. In addition, are one of the richest sources of vitamin D, which vitamin B is in boy, which is essential in maintaining normal elimination. Most of us live on dead artificial food, and this will quite naturally produce death inside of our bodies. This death is exceedingly difficult to get rid of. We eat food that congests our entire system, and as a result, we become constipated. When we fail to poop, we resort to using high-powered laxatives, and again, we harm the body. Very often, we find that these laxatives lose their power. They don't work. Then we resort to using enemas to secure elimination. Laxatives will never cure constipation, and their continued use only aggravates the condition. Using enemas to secure elimination is a most unnatural procedure and should be confined to emergencies only. Their constant use will soon weaken and cause the bowels to balloon, leading to further intestinal trouble. Constipation has various causes, but fundamentally results from failing to obey the laws of nourishment, movement, and recuperation. In past times, doctors and health authorities held that constipation was due to a lack of exercise and a lack of fiber in the diet. That's what they believed many years ago. With discovery of vitamins, however, came proof that intestinal paralysis or stasis in many cases is caused by a deficiency of vitamin B, especially B1, riboflavin. So vitamin B is therefore essential that our daily diets contain sufficient food sources of vitamin B, including whole grain. Anyone who cannot tolerate these foods should supplement with the vitamin B complex. All right, 4 laws of the body: nourishment, movement, recuperation, sanitation. I hope this gave you a little bit of understanding that health is much easier if you follow certain laws of how to maintain and sustain health within your body. And the foundational aspects of health are eating live food, it's vital and it's alive. So you want live food. Nourishment. You want to make sure that you're getting enough movement, because you could have the very best food, but if you don't move it around with nourishment, then there's no way of getting those nutrients to the body and to where they need to go. So nourishment helps with that. The other part is recuperation, rest and recuperation, getting proper amount of sleep, having hobbies and things you like to do, and working on that and making sure you have a good recreational capabilities. And of course, number 4 is sanitation, and that is cleanliness. Being aware that washing and bathing and cleaning the body is really, really critically important for health. It should be done daily, twice a day if necessary. And also being aware of what you put into your body, what you eat, and the foods you put on your body and in your body also lead to toxins and buildup of poisons. So eat properly. Don't eat. If you don't know what's on the label and they're words that are too big for you to produce, to know what they are, chances are they're probably not healthy for you. So eat healthy and live long, and you'll do well. Live long and prosper, I think is what Spock used to say. All right. So you're listening to Dr. Tread's Slim Body Laser Spa. I have an office located in Stuart, Florida at 2311 Southeast Ocean Boulevard, and it is a laser body sculpting center. We're Treasure Coast's #1 laser body sculpting center. We're using a non-invasive, low-level laser to help to shrink and reduce subcutaneous fat, which is the stuff that you can squeeze between your fingers, people. Take your hands, reach down. You can grab your belly and squeeze that stuff between your fingers or out on the side or around your legs. That's subcutaneous fat. And my FDA-cleared laser lipo could be the solution for you. You can lose, our clients, not just you, our clients have lost 3 to 9 to even 15 inches of stubborn fat when combining 3 measurements, lying on their back, listening to music, enjoying a day at the spa, an hour or 2 at the spa, 30 minutes on the laser, 10 to 20 minutes of whole body vibration standing on a machine. Every time you do the procedure at the spa, you lose about an inch. And that's combining 3 measurements. So the process is 3 times a week for 3 weeks. Each time you do it, you lose about an inch. 9 sessions, 6 to 9 inches. 3-inch money back guarantee. We offer everybody, then we select them. We specialize in abdomens. We can do thighs, saddlebacks, banana rolls. We can do bat wings. We can do love handles, muffin tops, cankles, anywhere that you've had a buildup of fat and you do not want to do liposuction. You don't want the cost involved with it or the possible risks of anesthesia, or you've been looking at maybe having it frozen off. Not that that's a good idea. You know, I remember freezing toes, and you lose toes when they freeze. I didn't see how you could freeze away your body parts and not sometimes lose those body parts too. And fat freezing is a big PR campaign, but I can tell you that there's better procedures out there. So before you buy, come check us out. It's called the Slim Body Laser Spa. I'm located on East Ocean Boulevard, right across from the Fresh Market, next to Carmela's Pizza. We have complimentary consultations. You just have to call up and schedule one. You'll sit down with me for the 30 minutes, whatever it takes to answer your questions. I'll show you a 6-minute DVD provided by the manufacturer of our laser equipment. And then I'll go over your own health history, make sure that you're a good candidate and that you completely understand what the laser does and what you need to do at the same time. We have our job, which is to apply the laser and to make sure you're a good candidate and to teach you and educate you and help you make better choices. But ultimately, it's up to you to follow the suggestions, to be able to pay for the care and to show up and get the inches off. So there's things that you'll have to do. It's not as hard as going to the gym or going to a weight loss class and waiting 9 or 10 or a year to get any results. My process is in 4 weeks. So if you have an engagement in October, if you're looking to go to a Halloween party in a really hot maid's outfit, you might want to start this week, and we can have you looking good so you can look good in your French maid outfit. It's Halloween's coming around, instead of having to choose to be the ghost with the sheet over you, just your head and your eyes. Well, I just thought I didn't have time to get to the weight loss center, so I'm going to go as a ghost for Halloween. Or the Grim Reaper, worse than that, with the black outfit on, Anyway, now is the time. And I like to tell you this, and if you haven't figured it out, time is not your friend. I used to think time was my friend when I was in my teens and 20s and 30s, and now I'm 60, and I'm saying to myself, ooh-wee, it's going fast. Time is definitely not my friend. However, the Slim Body Laser Spa is my friend. 25 pounds. Man, I was 30 pounds away from being 300 pounds. I'm 6'1", and I started to develop neuropathy in both of my feet, numbness, tingling, pain, this sharp pain in my left foot like 10 years ago. Never knew it was neuropathy, by the way. Thought maybe it was an injury to my foot. I thought maybe I had twisted my ankle somehow and got this problem in my foot. I had no idea that my blood sugar was high even 10 years ago. It's called hyperglycemia. If you're wondering if your blood sugar is high, by the way, don't take my word for it. Go down to Walgreens, go to CVS, and buy a blood glucose meter. If you're over 50 and you're overweight, a bit portly, and you don't have a blood sugar meter, go out and buy one because you're going to need it. Everybody, 50% of those who are overweight, over 50, who aren't exercising as much as they should, who aren't eating the right foods, are going to develop diabetes. And it begins with high blood sugar, hyperglycemia. So that means if you go down to Walgreens and you buy that blood glucose meter and you take it home today and you open it up and you read how to do it and you prick your finger, get the little thing, make sure you wipe the first blood, you wipe it away because that has chemicals from the skin. And then the second drip you put into that blood meter, it goes into that little strip and goes beep. If your number is over 115 or 120, if you're anywhere above that, you're in trouble. You have hyperglycemia. If that number comes up at 140, 180, 200, or like with me, when I did it, mine was over 300, and I wasn't feeling that bad, which is why I'm telling you this story, is get out and get a blood glucose. $40 for that meter. I think it's like $50 for all the test strips you'll need at this point. And start keeping track of it. Check your blood sugar in the morning before you eat, after having some water, and then check it after the meal. It's called postprandial, is when you haven't eaten in 8 hours, and then after the meal. And then you could check it again the next day at the same time, after you get up in the morning and after your meal, about an hour after your meal. Those numbers should be up higher than that and not coming down. Glycemic, and you need to look at this. Way too long when I handled mine, and ended up with nerve damage to my foot, and ended up hurting my toe. And I could have been preventative that first day I had that pain in my foot if I had had a blood glucose meter, but I didn't. So what I did was, as a result of having that high blood sugar and having type 2 diabetes, which I knew I had at this point in 2012, there's a strong statistic that everybody should be aware of. And if you're over 50 and you're newly diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which is non-insulin dependent metformin, you can take medication over the counter. You got to clean up your diet and exercise. That's type 2 diabetes. If you're 5 years or less diagnosed, and you lose weight and you eat better and you start to exercise, you have an 80% chance of completely reversing type 2 diabetes, getting off the meds, no metformin, just by losing 10% of your body fat, cleaning up your diet, cutting out the sugars, eating smaller amounts spaced out through the day, and be willing to walk at least 20 to 30 minutes a day. 80% no type 2 diabetes. That's what I wanted. I saw that. That was my perk. In 2012, I got on my own laser at my office. I told the staff, take care of me like you would one of the clients. I got to lose this weight. I got diabetes, and I lost 4 inches of girth in 3 weeks, lying on my back, listening to music. My belly went from a tight 40 to a loose 36. I mean, that's happened in 4 weeks. And all I did was I made up a diet for myself that was 2,000 calories, which is very doable because my burn rate was 2,400. So my intake has to be under that. So I made it up for 2,000. At the end of the 4th week, lying on my back, eating better, I was down to a 36 waist and I lost 6 pounds. Now I needed to lose 10% of my body fat. I needed to be 220. Not 258. So I realized that I still needed to lose weight. And the second month, the third month, and the fourth month, I continued to eat that diet that I was eating the first month, and I lost 30 pounds. I lost 10 pounds a month. And in the end of the fourth month, I was down 38 pounds. And that was 8 years ago. And I still have the weight off, people. I kept it off. And I used my laser, and I used a common sense approach to dieting, and it was worked very, very well. And that's my story. I've brought this laser assisted weight loss process, this 3 month to 4 month process, to the office. So if you're coming in and you're 30, 40 pounds overweight and you're listening to this and you don't know what to do and you're really struggling for help, I can help you at the Slim Body Laser Spa. I have the school, the technique, I have the process to help you to overcome this. It's 3-inch guaranteed. It's $2,800. It's so worth it. I cannot tell you. So give us a call, 772-223-5885. Go online, slimbodylaserspa.com. You can also call my friend Gary Owens at the Owens Insurance Group. He'll even give you my phone number. Dr. Treads. And he's coming up right after me. There's a little shameless plug for Mr. Owens. He's a great person, by the way. So you want to lose some weight, you want to look better, feel better, guaranteed result, give us a call, Slim Body Laser Spa. And I will see you next time around, the next time the sun goes or we go around the sun in a week. Thank you so much.